obviously a lot of people have tattoos now. If it went from basically 0 bodybuilders having tattoos to now almost every single bodybuilder has a tattoo. So there is a level, I believe, of overlooking them. But where and when they create shadows that shouldn't be there.
Gotcha.
Which, say, on one arm creates a shadow, the other one, now you're asymmetrical kind of thing. Then it, and someone is just as lean as you, just as complete as you, and has no tattoos, they'll win.
You don't know what the cool kids are?
Is that us?
No, the rap group, the cool kids. I don't even know if they make music anymore, but 10 years ago I would have listened to them. Now I'm old man yelling at clouds.
The clouds. They're the clouds.
The clouds.
You got some questions?
Yes. Do you have any lined up?
Yeah, but you go first.
Yeah, I got a couple.
I know you like to go first.
Some Q&As, some Q's and some A's. Let me see here. What do we got? I believe Dr. Kyle Aram sent us a question. Where are you at,
the doctor.
Oh, doctor. He's a doctor. My son, he's a doctor. Any supplements that are useful for cutting?
Oh, that's a question because that's a great question.
That's a question.
So every prep, I get neurotic.
Can confirm.
And I think a lot of competitors can also relate to this. Mm-hmm. So you start to research things you've already researched 75,000 times. And so now the information is fresh in my brain again. So ones that are natural supplements that are actually proven to help with fat loss, aka fat oxidation, aka the breakdown of fat into water and carbon dioxide. Did you know that's cool that people don't know that you literally breathe and pee and sweat your fat out?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So ones that actually work are green tea extract. That has.
Do you know what it does?
I'm just gonna say the ones that work. No, I don't actually know.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know. I just didn't know if you knew.
No,
it's all good. Yeah.
Green tea extract. Continue. Black currant extract.
Like my jam? Black currant jelly?
No, it's like a different. CLA. Conjugated linoleic acid.
Linoleic.
What? What did I say?
I don't know. You put an I in a weird spot.
Oh, did I? Whatever. CLA.
Yeah, I don't know. CLA. Cla.
What else? Those ones for sure actually show some. Oh, actually, yerba mate as well.
Yeah, my only expertise in that area as far as like understanding what supplements would help with cutting are things that would help with, like you were talking about fat loss oxidation, which is only one aspect of cutting. So it's like, there's also appetite control and appetite suppressant.
Fair.
Which like I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but those are supplements that could help. So any supplement that helps with appetite suppressing, that would be.
Do you have an example?
I mean, nicotine helps. Most stimulants help to curb appetites, but at the same time,
that's also thermogenic too.
They're also double whammy because they're also thermogenics and they increase the body's internal temperature and get the metabolism going. Not by any significant degree, but they do help. So they help with fatty oxidation as well, I think.
What's that natural? Well, you could get it at the pharmacy or like at a Walmart. Oh, Hydroxycut. I use Hydroxycut,
which is caffeine
for like my
maybe some ephedrine in there.
No, I don't think
there's no ephedrine either. Their old one might have had ephedrine. Definitely caffeine though.
Let's see.
Caffeine. Here, let me try and guess it.
Okay.
Caffeine, green tea extract for sure. Cayenne pepper, right? For sure. So like some of these supplements, honestly, like when you say like they work, they could work, but to such a low degree. You know what I mean? Like they work so they work to some non-zero amount. Great. But is it worth the money and the side effects or just the effects that come with it? It's like, I'm not even sure. Like, you know what I mean? You get a minor amount of appetite suppression. You get a minor increase in metabolism. It's like if you went for a 5-minute walk, you would literally just get that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not worth it to me. Although some of these could work.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so caffeine.
Okay. Green tea extract.
Green coffee extract.
I knew that.
Choline.
Okay.
Skull cap extract.
Okay.
Ashwagandha extract.
They're extracts.
What? They're just saying extract.
Okay.
Rhodiola.
Okay.
Olive extract. Black pepper extract.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say this right.
Hyperzine.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it?
It's the extract. Hyperzia serrata extract.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's it.
Okay. So actually, I knew part of it.
That's not like nearly.
Wait, is there no?
This is the current one. This is the current.
Gotcha.
Which is there's no like.
That's This is basically a long way of saying though that like that's probably what works. And then here's another good example. It's like good for cutting because cutting's a general question. So we talked about kind of how they work on appetite suppressant, which is part of cutting, how it works on thermogenics, which is part of cutting and actual increasing metabolism. And then the second one or the third one would be also indirectly that helps with helps with fat loss, but still part of the cutting umbrella is like increasing your protein. So if you're going to count a protein powder, which I don't even know if I really would as a supplement, right? That would help.
Assuming that you're like, you have to see what does cutting mean to you. To me, cutting is purely fat loss.
Right.
I will sit there and be hungry all day. I don't care about appetite control.
Well, that's why I said cutting.
Right?
Cutting.
I know.
Yeah.
You're saying it right because you're like cutting is an umbrella of multiple things.
Yeah, like what goes under cutting? There's fat oxidation. There's
the goal of cutting to cut is to be leaner.
Right.
So our primary goal is fat loss.
Right. What else would it be? Like, what's the alternative to that? Like, of course it is.
No, that's what I'm saying though. It's like you wouldn't, like say someone is doing their diet, but then Tim said that protein powder is good for cutting.
Right.
But then they're adding in so much protein powder that they're not in a deficit anymore.
Sure.
Right. I think it's just.
Well, I mean, these are all obviously not recommending these. We're answering this in isolation, obviously. But the point is like. Shh. Not a good joke. We're shushing bad jokes around here.
It was way too good.
I hate you.
Mike said, see ya.
Yeah, Mike said, see ya.
My
point is though, is just like cutting, I think is a good umbrella term for like, what's good if I want to lose weight or lose fat? You know what I mean? If I just want to lean out, it's like, well, there's like technically fat oxidation. Then there's like, thermogenesis and metabolism increases, which stimulants primarily
But what do they
help.
do though? They like you increase your thermogenesis to oxidize more fat.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
But I just mean these are all spokes of the wheel you can address. That's the point, right?
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's like anything else. It's like, I don't know, like if someone comes to you and wants to like build muscle, you'd be like, okay, well, there's going to be training. That's one spoke of the wheel. There's going to be nutrition. That's another spoke. How's your sleep? That's another spoke. Like still the goal is to get jacked.
Yeah.
Still the goal is to get jacked. So like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Anyways, good question, Dr. Kyle.
Is there another question you have?
My ethnically ambiguous Dr. Pell. Kyle Aram. We got another question from somebody else. Ruben Dale.
Ruben Dale?
Yeah, Dale.
He said you looked big in your
all that matters.
When you did that lat spread.
That's all that matters.
Yesterday?
That's all that matters. Also, Ruben, thank you for lying because that lat spread was horrible and I didn't look big. And I will redeem myself.
Yeah.
But you're being kind. You're too kind. Okay, we got a question from him.
Okay.
He says, my question is, and he'd asked this before, I think, but in the box, it didn't. He asked this in the past and we skipped over it or I lost the question or something happened. But it's a longer question. He says, could Sam's tattoos affect the muscle definition for the competition? I'll read the entire thing he says.
Okay.
Could it create unnatural lines and affect the way she scored? I was also thinking a full episode. Oh, okay. That's a whole other thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that would be a good question for you to answer.
Yeah. The answer is yes, technically yes.
Mhm.
So I actually asked one of the judges who's very well respected in the posing game. And it's funny because so when I was at Dr. Ken Kanakin's and Mindy O'Brien's seminar, he was there and I had the opportunity to ask, so do tattoos really affect the score? And he said, yes. Obviously a lot of people have tattoos now. It went from basically 0 bodybuilders having tattoos to now almost every single bodybuilder has a tattoo. So there is a level, I believe, of overlooking them. But where and when they create shadows that shouldn't be there.
Gotcha.
Which say on one arm creates a shadow, the other one, now you're asymmetrical kind of thing. Then it, and someone is just as lean as you, just as complete as you, and has no tattoos, they'll win.
Right. All things equated, the tattoos.
Exactly. So that's why I'm putting my tattoos on a body part that isn't involved in pretty much any of my poses. Like my forearm
Right.
doesn't matter. Sebum has a full forearm tattoo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like, and I've said this to you, like, I'm not going to complete the sleeve. I'm not going to get back piece. I'm not going to do anything, even on my legs. Until I'm done. Right. So
yeah, I think that's wise, right?
Yeah. So that's the answer to that. And it was, it was funny because when he was saying the, like the answer about the tattoo, he was like, yeah, like if you have a rose up your arm, like that's going to cause some shadows. And I'm looking at him like,
I got a
rose up my arm. Guess it's just a basic tattoo.
Yeah, definitely.
Oops.
Everyone and their mom has a rose
Guilty.
tattoo. Looks good though, babe. I like it.
Guilty.
Yeah. More questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few people ask me that. And I'm like, well, I just tell them what you told me.
Yeah.
Sam says.
Okay, so
Don't
green
get face tattoos.
and red flags to look for in a coach.
Oh, that's good.
Let's start with the red flags.
Yeah?
Wait, is it a red flag to start with the red flags?
Nice. Red flag. Red flag gets forearm tattoos of roses.
You got me.
Yeah, let's talk about red flags. I think
Red flags in a coach. I had one.
Okay.
And I was actually talking to Alex about it. And this is strictly bodybuilding.
Yep.
When a coach, so it's an amateur regional natural show.
Yep.
And prejudging is done. And a coach's client is in the 3rd place position. And they're backstage with their client and they're like, bro, we just got to fill out more and we're going to, you can fight for that top spot in the finals. You can fight for it. Prejudging's done.
Like you've lost.
No, like they do not do any rejudging at finals. For
They just not
amateur,
Does the
regional, natural show.
Does the coach not know how the sport works?
The coach knows how the sport works. The coach wants to tell the client what they want to hear.
Oh,
The coach wants to keep getting paid
yeah. Gotcha.
and wants to keep people around.
Lame.
Right?
Yeah, that's sad. Eh?
So then I said, like for Emily, when she
Yeah.
was in the 2nd place position for her 2nd class, as soon as she got backstage, I was like, I'm pretty sure you won your 1st class, but in your 2nd class, we're in 2nd place spot.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh, she was just so happy because it was her first show, right?
Yeah.
So it was like fantastic attitude.
Yeah.
But it was like, why do you have to lie? Like the only thing that could be rejudged at finals is the overall. So
Oh, okay.
when I knew that Mike was going for the overall,
Mhm.
we had to plan differently. Like we did want to fill him out more.
Yeah.
He could go get like a burger and fries to like
Mhm.
kind of fill out, get harder and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like we had to, like he was still going to get judged
Gotcha.
is the whole point.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you're ending up in the 2nd place spot and like there will be no rejudging at finals.
Yeah.
There just won't. So
Yeah.
I think that's a red flag is
Yeah.
lying to your clients.
Yeah.
Number one, that long answer for that. Another red flag, taking a million years to reply.
Yeah, timely response is key.
Yeah. And by timely, I think like same day is good.
Right.
Like, I don't think like within an hour or something. Like, I think if you get text in the morning, at least if they reply by afternoon, evening.
Yeah. In general, what I try and aim for is under 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if I can do with that, that's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
If I can be quicker, I'll be quicker.
Yep.
Right. But
I'll definitely try.
Within the 24 hours.
I feel like sometimes at a point when you're getting like a ton of texts and stuff from clients, or you get like a lot of videos and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I treat those texts almost like email, where it's like I'm not expecting to like text them back and then they text me right back and then I text them right back and it's like a full on conversation because I just don't think that's realistic. So I kind of treat it like an email where it's like I'll reply, okay, they reply, okay, maybe I take an hour or two, I'll reply back unless it's like a pressing question, obviously.
Right, if it's not urgent,
or if it's someone like very close to a show.
Yeah.
They kind of get bumped up the priority list, right? So I like to tell my clients too, like if you're not hearing a lot from me, that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Like I trust you. I have no worries about you. You're doing amazing. If you have any concerns, reach out to me kind of thing. Like fly, free bird, like I don't, but if I have to constantly like message someone like, hey, so like, are you following your meal plan? Then it's like, okay. And I'm a little more worried.
No, that makes sense. I think a red flag would be someone a red flag in a coach would be like someone who's not providing, like say on the client's end, they are feeling confused regularly, right? If they don't have a clear idea, but the effort's there, the motivation's there, the effort's there, the determination and the want, where they're like, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm trying hard. I'm getting in my sessions. I'm getting in, I'm being reasonably adherent here. Maybe not perfect, but they're doing the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you find that you're not getting the progression you want at the rate that you previously spoke about that would be appropriate, with your coach you'd agreed upon, I presume. And if that's not happening and you're not having a clear idea of like, what do we do about this? Do you know what I mean? Like what's a solution? So if there's confusion or ambiguity in basically the response and the continued responses from the coach, I think that's a red flag, because it's like, that's common, I think too. Because it's like when I have an issue with a client where I'm like, yeah, this isn't the rate of progression we want, and this isn't the trajectory we want, and this is not what should have happened by this date. So then I talk to them and I look over the data and I look over what the information they're giving me, and I give them as clear cut advice as I can. I go, here's what we need to do. This is what it looks like,
Along that line, red flag when they give you a solution, but they don't explain it.
Right. Still creating confusion.
It's still more. So it's like, okay, I'm expecting to drop this by now. Why am I not? And then the coach goes, oh, add 60 minutes of cardio. Why? What's that going to do? Oh, just do it.
Totally.
What I mean?
Not explaining
and then they don't, there's no explanation. There's no, or in the bodybuilding world, primarily male coaches prescribing supplements. I want you to see my air quotes. Supplements.
Yeah, we get it.
To females.
Remember, there are listeners too. Quote unquote supplements.
To females. And they give them a dose. And the female goes, why am I taking this dose? And the male just, oh, that's the dose.
Right.
So that's a red flag too.
Do you think that's common?
Oh, yeah.
Women being, I don't know if prescribed's the right word.
Women
being recommended
to take
by their coaches
just
to take
way
certain
too much. Just way too
medications
much.
Or
sometimes
supplements.
it's the right compound.
Right. But just an irresponsible dosage.
Just a dose that's like, what? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a big one.
A green flag.
Yeah, green flag.
Okay, one green flag each. Because I do have another question we gotta get to.
Yeah, probably. Why is it hard to think of green flags?
Green flag in a coach. Here we go.
Yeah.
When a ton of their other clients speak very highly of them.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
They reach out to, or I had this recently.
Yeah.
Actually, the woman that sent in this question, she was recommended to me by someone who isn't even one of my clients.
Yep.
And still spoke very highly of me as a coach.
Yeah.
So it's like just kind of as a coach, putting your cards on the table and being genuine and having people recommend you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess a green flag that I could think of, and this is an important one actually, and it's something that I do my best with all my clients, is being brutally, but not inappropriately honest with your clients when you need to be. And I think that's key, because especially when it comes to like body composition, physique changes, and fat loss stuff, and helping people with their behaviors around food, I think you have to be brutally honest with people, because there's a lot of barriers people will set up. And actually, a good example is someone that I talked to with a check-in this past week on Thursday, and they have complained about their work being highly stressful for months now. And that's just been a trend that I've noticed. And they've been doing so well with their food. They've learned a ton. They've gotten so much better. They've lost tons of weight. They're doing really well. But I recognize that I'm like, okay, we can't really ignore this anymore. And I'm starting to see this emerge as like a pretty large contributor to your lifestyle and your stress in life and your quality of life overall. And so I asked them, I was like, do you think like work is one of your major stressors? I kind of knew the answer, but and they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, is there something we can do about that? Like, and I provided some suggestions, like going this way, go this way. Is this realistic? Not things like, oh, can you quit your job? Like I didn't recommend things like that. So, but I was trying to think of ways that we could like reduce the stress with their job. And part of it was making suggestions about how, I wasn't telling them how to do their job, but I was making suggestions and trying to guide them down the path of like, they're in a management position. So I suggested like, you've previously admitted to me that you are guilty of micromanaging your team. Is there a way that you could maybe work on, giving them more autonomy, more independence, and letting them, teach them how to do their jobs, and then letting them screw up and fail so that they can learn to do it, so that you don't have to keep micromanaging them and then complaining when they fail because they can't do their job because you never let them. You know what I mean? And when I said that, I felt like maybe I'm teetering the line of like overstepping here, but this issue seems to be taking away from my job as a coach. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is affecting what we're trying to do together. So this is totally relevant. And you could tell, I think they were like, they took it very well for sure. But you could tell that they were like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to go here, and they were great. They responded really well. And I think we got somewhere as far as like developing a game plan off of that. And we'll build on that for sure. But yeah, I think that was a recent example of that. But trying to be honest with people is good. Another good one is when people are, and I have this all the time, right? People will make progress, or maybe they don't make progress, but you'd say they do make progress and then they don't. And they get to that point where it's like, damn, it's been however much time, couple weeks, 21 days, gets longer, gets into a month of like, we're thinking we're going to make breakthrough. And then, okay, progress slows down, it bounces back. And we're like, and typically in situations like that, it's like the client is not pulling their weight in what they said they would do as far as their goals throughout the week. If it's my fault, then that'd be a green flag actually for me to take responsibility for that for sure as the coach. But I'll be honest, typically there's an issue with the client having a barrier with like just following through on what they said they would do. And the part that I need to do as a coach is to be brutally honest with them in that moment and be like, what you're currently doing over and over again is not working. Like we need to work together to figure out a way to break through here. What do we have to do? What do I need to do that I'm not doing? Is there something I can do as a coach to help you with this? Or is there something that you're doing or not doing that you think we should add? Like, what do you think on your end? Like, what's the struggle here? What's the biggest issue and the lowest hanging fruit that we can address? And that's an uncomfortable conversation for a coach to have. That's not necessarily, it's easy to say like this, but when the time comes and you're in front of someone, it's not always, right? Of course, there's like economic incentive for me to keep getting paid for sure, right? I'll be honest about that, but like people might not like that and be insulted by it. So you have to,
Yeah. You can follow me at Blaze Fit.
You can follow me at Tim_MSHC. Follow
At Stay Peaked.
Yeah.
The
on Instagram,
podcast.
YouTube, wherever.
Subscribe, like, and thanks so much for listening. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks.